Hello, this is Nicholas Bolu, and this is my presentation for EE304 Project 2. And what I did for my project is a C++ program for a text-based baseball game. So for an overview of the game, a user first selects how many innings they want to play. And then for each inning, the user is up to bat once, and the user selects a batting direction, left, up, right, down. And then if that batting direction matches a randomly selected pitching direction, then the user gets a hit, and then each hit you get one base. And then if you get after you get 3 bases in one inning, then each additional base counts as a run. And then, however, if the batting direction that you choose does not equal the pitching direction, then you get a strike. And after 3 strikes, you get an out, and then after 3 outs, then you switch sides and you begin to pitch. And for user pitching, it's similar. But instead of selecting the batting direction, the user selects the pitching direction. And if the computer randomly selected direction does not match, then the user gets a strike. Otherwise, the computer gets a hit. And then the game is over with after the selected number of innings are played. These are some examples of user interfaces. So for the batting, you can see the first line says enter the number of innings to play, so you can put any number of innings. And then it says what the current inning is. So here it says it's currently the first inning. And then so you go up to bat right away and it says choose the direction to swing. 1 equals left, 2 equals right, 3 equals up, 4 equals down. And then you input a direction. And then so in the example I showed here, I got I missed on all of them, so I got 3 strikes. And then so after you get 3 strikes, it says you have struck out. And then after each batter, it tells you the current stats. So it says you have 0 players on base, 1 out, and 0 runs. So that would be updated accordingly to what you get during the game. And then this is an example of the user pitching. So it says you are now pitching, then you enter a direction to pitch, same as the batting. 1 equals left, 2 equals right, 3 equals up, 4 equals down. And then this is kind of interesting. The computer got a bunch of hits. So it says the computer got a hit. The computer has 1 player on base, 0 outs, and 0 runs. And then you can see the computer got a number of hits, and then so at the end it says the computer has 3 players on base, 1 out, and 0 runs. So then if the computer gets another player on base, then they'll have 1 run, and so on. So just an overview of some of the control structures. There's 3 main while loops: one to control the number of innings, a second one to control number of strikes for an out, 3 strikes equals 1 out, and then a while loop to control the number of outs per inning, 3 outs, and then you switch sides. And then if structures, there's a few of those. There's the if structure to determine a random pitching or hitting direction for the computer. There's the if structure to determine if the user gets a hit. There's a if structure if the user gets a strike or not, and then there's a if structure to determine how many runs. So this is just briefly the while loop for controlling the number of innings. You can see up here it says enter the number of innings to play, and then it receives the input where it's the number of innings. And then it says you chose to play however many innings, and then it initializes the current inning as 1, and then it says, well, the current inning is less than or equal to the number of innings, and then it basically plays the game, and then once it's over, it's basically it just tells you the final score and the game's over with. This is the while loops for counting the number of outs and strikes. Basically, you can see we have a loop that says, well, player outs is less than 3, and then you'll keep batting, and then when it gets up to 3, then you change sides. And then basically and then here we have the while for strikes. When the strikes is less than 3, you keep hitting, but then when the strikes gets up to 3, then you change batters. This is how it selects the computer's random pitching direction. Basically this first line up here, we're taking this variable random pitching direction, and this is outputting a random number between 1 and 100. And if that variable is less than 26, so basically 1 to 25, the computer pitch direction is 1. If it's if it's between 26 and 50, the direction is 2. Then if it's between 51 and 75, it's 3, or it is 4. So we're basically assigning a pitching direction of 1, 2, 3, or 4. And this is the user batting code. So I think as we showed earlier, you pick a player swing direction, and then if the player swing directions equals a computer pitch, which is what we just looked at, then it says you got to hit, and then it increments the number of bases by 1, and it resets the player's strikes to 0. And then if number of bases is greater than 3, then it increments the number of runs. Or if the player swing does not equal the computer pitch, then it says you got to strike. And then if the number of strikes is greater than 2, then it increments the player outs. This is how it randomly chooses a computer batting direction. It's basically the same as the computer pitching direction, where we're taking a random number between 1 and 100 and then assigning it to computer swinging direction of 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then this is the user pitching, which is again similar to the hitting section, where if the player pitch is equal to the computer swing, then there's a hit, otherwise there's a strike. So that's basically it. I'll submit the computer file too, so you can play around with that, and I think it demonstrates what I've just talked about here. So if there are any questions, please let me know. Thanks.